Marketing. I'm here at Inforum's Women on the Move in the Bank of America building in Troy, Michigan, and I'm going to be leading a workshop on optimizing LinkedIn for job search. And the rest of the time I'll be talking to the attendees here today. So good evening, ladies. How is everybody doing tonight?
Great.
Good. I'm so excited to be here. And I was actually here, Carol, was it about a year ago? I think it was October, something like that. And gave a workshop at that point on using LinkedIn for a job search. And I'm so excited to be back here today sharing this knowledge with all of you. So if you do have access to the Wi-Fi, I would highly encourage you to, if you can, follow along, either on your laptop, tablet, or on your phone if you've got the LinkedIn app. If you don't have the LinkedIn app on your phone yet, you might not be able to download it during the session, but I would highly recommend you do so. It's a great thing to have if you've got 5 minutes before a doctor's appointment or sitting in the car in a parking lot. It's a great thing to kind of jump on. All right, so we're going to be talking about optimizing LinkedIn for job search, and we've got a good portion of content to cover here tonight, and I think we've got to stop at 7:30. Is that right? Want to allow some time for questions in there too, so I'll probably try to keep us to about 7:15. I'm going to put my watch down right in the middle here. Just to keep us to time, if you do have questions, stop me as we're going, raise your hand, I may repeat them back, and we'll kind of go on from there. So we'll be talking about some overview, reminders to get started. We'll go into settings, a couple basic things I want to make sure you touch off. Focusing a lot of our time here talking about your profile, optimizing your profile for your ideal target audience. And for many of you, that ideal target audience may be your next employer, whether it's a recruiter or somebody in your network who can refer you into that opportunity. We'll talk about posting on LinkedIn, and we're going to practice posting if you're able to do so here tonight. And we'll talk about using LinkedIn for job search. And there's some obvious areas that you look at jobs, Andrew. And we also have some hidden areas, some things that I kind of discovered along the way that may not be as evident, but there are some ways that you can use LinkedIn for job search there. We'll talk about personalizing invitations, how to get those invitations accepted by more connections more often. And then we'll do some final thoughts. And I always like to give you guys some homework to work on to make these workshops a little bit more useful. Okay? So a lot of content. It's going to be a good class tonight. I do talk fast. I'm excited. I love this topic. But if I'm talking too fast, say, whoa, 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 slow down a little bit here. We'll pull it back a little bit. Does that sound good? And I'll check in as we're going along the way here tonight. All right, so some things to get started. And I love this graphic because I think it really does a nice job of reminding us about a couple things on LinkedIn. You can't just be that anonymous LinkedIn user that's just sitting and watching things from the sidelines. Whether you're active or not, people are going to be looking you up. And even things like if you don't have a profile photo on your LinkedIn account, you're missing out on opportunities. And there's actually some stats that say if you don't have a headshot photo, or if it's not viewable by everybody on LinkedIn, you're missing out. You'll actually get 14 to 21 times more views of your profile if you have a photo on your account. So some little things there. LinkedIn is always changing. And have you ladies ever been in the middle of a LinkedIn session and all of a sudden some weird things happen? Like a hiccup, sending a message out, it freezes, things are just not working as they should be. My philosophy on that is LinkedIn is always up. They never have any site downtime. Okay? So when you're experiencing those little hiccups, it's probably because they're in the middle of updating something within the site. For that reason, when you are building your profile, if you're writing your headline, your summary statement, any areas of your LinkedIn profile, do yourself a favor, do it in a Word document, and then put it into LinkedIn. Otherwise, I guarantee you will lose some work at some point. You'll be so frustrated with yourself. Everyone has a different comfort level. I'm a pretty open book when it comes to using LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all the time. I'm posting frequently, once every business day. You might say, I'm not as comfortable going on LinkedIn that much. And some of you might be going through this job search in stealth mode, meaning you're working for an employer, you don't want your employer to know, you don't want your boss to know, right? And how do you kind of navigate and use LinkedIn without putting off any red flags, right? So I'll show you some techniques there tonight. My hope is that everyone will listen, learn, and decide for themselves which of the techniques you'll put into play for yourself. And my goal is that everybody walks out of the session with some new insights. Okay? All right, so just a quick overview. How many people are on LinkedIn already? Show of hands. Okay, just about everybody? There's usually like maybe one or two when I do these sessions that aren't on LinkedIn. So you do know it's the top professional networking site. It's not a job search site. It does have job search applications, but it is not a job search site. So for those of you who are going through this in stealth mode, meaning you don't want your employer to know, and you're scared about stepping up your efforts on LinkedIn because it's going to throw off flags, rest assured, LinkedIn is actually used more by working professionals than it is used by job seekers. So kind of set that aside, get over that, and then kind of just assume this is a professional networking site, and that's how we're using it from this moment forward. It's been around since 2003. I've been on the site since 2006. I was one of the, I guess, the earlier adopters. And in 2008, I was with an employer at the time, and I hit that proverbial glass ceiling. I wanted to move up, and I was told in no certain terms, this is as far as you're going at the company. And I decided I wanted to make a job change. I was married, I had a young child at home, and guess what was going on with the economy in 2008, right? So I knew my competition were hundreds and then quickly thousands of people that were being laid off, and I would have to do my job search differently. So I used LinkedIn for my job search. One day I found a job posting on there, I made a direct connection with somebody, and I was brought in for an interview from that. So I really discovered, wow, there's a whole other way we can go about this job search process now. And since then, I always tell people, if it wasn't for LinkedIn, I wouldn't be standing here today. I wouldn't. All the decisions I've made in my career are due to the path that I took using LinkedIn. And I've used it as a job seeker, as a hiring manager, as a marketer, as a sales professional, as a consultant, and looking to share all that with you today. All right, so I'm just gonna ask for maybe a couple of volunteers in the room to help me out here. I know we don't have time to go around the entire room, but if anyone would feel comfortable just telling me your name, a career goal, you know, if you're actively in career transition, tell me what you're looking for, job title and or industry. And I love pie. I don't know if anybody knows that about me. If you're following me on social media, you know that I love pie. And I love coffee and chocolate, and I love my job, my family, and all the other stuff too. But I love pie. I'm your pie girl. So when I go out to present, I bring a pie. Okay? And I'm going to be giving away a pie tonight. So I went to Grand Traverse Pie earlier today, and they have, I kid you not, guys, this is, I don't know if it says it on the side, it's a cherry Werner's pie. And I did a sampling, I got my own slice, and then I got a little mini pie I'm going to be giving away here tonight too. So we'll have a fun little thing at the end there to do a little giveaway for that. But what I'd like to do is maybe just 2 to 3 people, if you just give me your name, tell me what type of career you're looking for, and what's your favorite kind of pie. Okay? Anyone? Yep.
My name is Kristen Wheeler. I am in career transition. My experience is in supply chain management and systems planning and implementation. And so I'm looking for a job in the Metro Detroit area in one of those fields or in a related field.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kristen.
Oh, pie.
Pie, sorry. Forgot about pie.
I love four-berry pie from Atkins.
Atkins?
They have a really good four-berry pie.
Yeah. Yes. My mouth waters when people tell me.
And I love pie.
Yeah.
Definitely love
Your
pie.
pie, Kelsey?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Nikita Wright, and I currently work for a company, but I'm looking for new opportunities in the HR field. And my favorite pie would be sweet potato pie.
Awesome. Love the pie. It's close to pumpkin, a little different flavor to it.
Yeah.
How about in the side of the room? Yes.
My name's Joy Braden. I'm looking for a job in quality or process in the automotive industry, where my experience is. And my favorite kind of pie is probably my husband's strawberry rhubarb.
Oh, does he make it homemade for you?
He does.
Oh, you married well.
There you go.
That's got oh, really? Homemade strawberry rhubarb pie. Wonderful. Excellent pie choices. And I would encourage you ladies, as we're here tonight, network with one another. Make sure you exchange names with your neighbors on both sides if you connect with them on LinkedIn. Because you never know, you might come across a job that somebody else in this room may benefit from. And let's all do our part to making this world a better place and helping each other. All right, so that's a little bit about you. So let's get started with some settings before we get started here. Does anybody have in their laptop, are you able to get in? Is anybody able to get in? So if you can follow along with me, try to follow along. If not, you can watch the playback and do this later. There are a few of these things you can do on your phone. So if you're in your desktop, what I'll have you do is go under the Me icon, and then you're going to go down to Settings and Privacy. If you're on your phone, if you're on your profile, I think there's a little gear icon in the upper left-hand corner. Click on that gear icon, and a couple of these things you can do. The full version of LinkedIn actually gives you the ability to do all these changes. We're under Settings and Privacy, and I want to start by looking under the Account tab and looking under where it says Login and Security. And the very first thing I want you to do is, let's look under your email addresses. And if any of you are in career transition, no longer with your former employer, what I'm looking for is making sure that you're not using your former employer's address on your profile. So if you click on Change, it's going to expand that list out, and it'll show you here's the email addresses that are listed, that are linked to your LinkedIn account. Now only one will say primary next to it. The email that says primary is the one that your connections will see, okay? Do keep in mind here, any of these email addresses you can use to log into your account. And I actually like using a Gmail plus my work email. I have a couple different versions of it. But the one that's primary is the one that people can see, okay? So if anyone is in career transition, you see your employer's email address on there, make sure you have a home email, and let's delete out that one and make the home email your primary. Making sense?
Again, how to get into settings.
Sure. Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
So on your phone, there should be a gear icon if you go on your profile. So click on your little face icon there, and then click on view profile, and then click on the gear icon there.
Okay.
I just don't know if you can do everything in here. Under account, it should say email addresses.
Yeah.
And click on email addresses. And what is it showing in there? So you just have the one email address listed on there. Perfect. That's good. Yours is not. Yours, it might be the Wi-Fi that's kind of going a little bit slow.
Yes, thank you. Okay, and then don't do anything.
So you're in good shape. As long as you still have access to that email is something that you're still using, you're in good shape, okay? So if it's an email you no longer have access to, clear that out of there and let's put another email in. The reason being, this email, the primary email, is the one that shows in your contact info section. So if an employer wants to get a hold of you and they're not sure how often you're on LinkedIn and they want to send you an email, guess what? It's going to an email box you don't have access to anymore. Okay, so that's kind of the important thing to look at. Okay? All right, we're going to keep going. Is that okay?
Yep.
All right, awesome. So the next thing I want you to look at is under the privacy tab, which is the second area on here. Click on privacy, and then I want you to click on this area that says edit your public profile. I don't know if you can get to this from your phone. I think this might be only the desktop version. You can get it from your phone? Awesome. So click on edit your public profile, click on that change button, and it's going to pop up a menu of items on here. The very first thing I look at is your custom URL. So if you have a URL in LinkedIn that says linkedin.com/in/Brenda Meller ZX238QAY, if you have that gobbledygook at the end of your name, either on your desktop, scroll to the end of that line, or on your phone, mouse over your finger to the end of that line, and then you can actually edit that. So if you click on that pencil icon here to edit it, you can actually edit out the gobbledygook characters. Okay? Highly recommend you do that. What I like to see is just the last characters are just first name, last name. So I even take out the dash in between it. There's no spaces. I just use Brenda Meller. Now, if I was Brenda Smith, I might have to have Brenda L. Smith or Brenda Smith MI or something like that in there. But if you can, get that simplified. Okay? Was anybody able to edit theirs?
Yeah.
Good. So you cleaned it up. So you're in good shape there. Also in this area, if you kind of look along the right-hand side, what I like to say is blue shows us you. So we're looking to see that everything is set to blue, which is maximum visibility. So this should be toggled to open, and then as you scroll down, this is kind of a continuation of this, as you scroll down, make sure that everything is opened up to blue. Blue shows us you. If any of these things are closed off, that means I can't see that area on your profile. Are you helping your neighbor?
Here, reset my password.
Are we good? Is anybody noticing those areas that are toggled to gray? A couple people are saying yes. So move those to blue, because otherwise it's hidden. It's kind of like you built a profile and you put a big brick wall in front of it and we can't see anything. So what's the point, right?
Where did you get the list, Brenda?
Yeah, how do you get the list?
How did I get the...
There it is.
Oh, headline, okay.
Got it? Okay, just scroll down a little. I had to kind of stack it on mine because it's a long page on here. Okay, was there another question over here? You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So blue shows us you. We've got those all kind of toggled from gray to blue. Everything's opened up. And you can actually play with this. If you shut these off, it'll show you what your profile looks like, and it's going to show you everything's hidden kind of behind it. So make sure that that's opened up. Okay? Question?
Above that, it has profile photo.
Yes.
And then there's 4 options. Are you going to go over that?
Right in here, what you should look at, that's a good question. I don't have that in here, so let me touch on that right now. Your profile photo visibility, what I recommend is you have that set to public so that anyone can see your profile photo. The reason being, remember earlier I said if people see the gray avatar, some people will not connect with you if they cannot see your profile, okay? Human nature, sometimes we kind of react to that where that's spam, it's not a real account. If I can see it, and I've even met you and I recognize you from your profile photo, I have a higher likelihood of accepting the invitation. 14 to 21 times more likely to accept the invitation if I can see your photo on your account. Okay?
So when you look up somebody like a Google search, sometimes
Yes.
you don't see it much.
And that's because they don't have it set to public in here. They may have it set to only LinkedIn members or only my connections. Yes.
And you're saying public is best?
I think it's best because it gives you maximum visibility. Again, remember earlier I said everybody has a different comfort level? You might say, gosh, Brenda, I'm not comfortable with that. I want to keep it a little bit more locked down. I am here to help optimize your time and presence on LinkedIn so that you get maximum visibility for your profile and maximum likelihood that people are going to accept your invitations and connect with you. Okay? From there, you got to decide what you're comfortable with. Okay? One more question?
So what is your philosophy on those who don't necessarily want to show their picture, like people that want to connect with people, like genuine connections, or we're not really looking at, what I look like or anything like that? What is your take on that for somebody who doesn't really want to put their picture?
If you have to make that decision for yourself. The question is, what if you don't really want to show your photo? You have to make that decision for yourself, what you're comfortable with. Know that, by gaining privacy, you're losing potential connections. You're losing potential profile views. Some people say, hey, that's okay. I'm totally okay with that approach because I only want to connect with people I know. And I don't want everyone in the world to see my photo on LinkedIn. We are women, so let's address this right now. There are some men who think that LinkedIn is eHarmony. Right? I wish I had a screen capture of this guy about a week ago, and I hadn't had it in a while. I'm like, I haven't had it in a while. Maybe things are cleaning up on here. And it was an older gentleman in I kid you not, a bathrobe, sitting in front of a fireplace. That was his profile photo. And I screened everybody in, and I'll show you guys this technique in a little while, but I screened everybody in and I said, hi, Fred, whatever it was, thanks for your invitation, have we met? And he replied back and he said, hello, Brenda. And I felt like he was sidling up to me at the bar, And I was like, hello, Fred. And he's like, how's your day going? And I'm like, fine. I said, this is a professional networking site. Is there something you need some assistance with? And where do you come from, Brenda? And I blocked him right away because it was obviously either a spam account or he was going down the eHarmony route, and we weren't going to go there. So, if and when that does happen to you, please report them to LinkedIn because LinkedIn will investigate it and they will wipe their accounts off.
How do you do that?
When you get the invitation from this person, you have to go onto their profile and then go on the little button that there's like connect. There's either a more or like an arrow drop down, and if you click on that, you can block them and you can report them.
Okay.
And I would do both of those things. And when you report, it's going to say why, and it's either impersonating another person, inappropriate use of LinkedIn. There's a couple options that are in there. Okay. All right. So back to the privacy thing, you gotta, kind of figure out what you feel comfortable with, and know that if you are a little bit more locked down, you may be losing some potential profile views and some connections, but that's the trade-off, right? Yes.
So we selected, we have the ability to choose if our profile picture is public.
Yes.
But then all of the details, past experiences, et cetera,
yes.
Is that all visible to public as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you toggle that to open, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. All right. Good questions. All right. Keep going? Okay. All right, we'll keep going here. All right, so now that you have your simplified URL, I want to encourage you ladies to think about adding that URL in your email footer if you haven't already done so. It's a nice subtle way as you're communicating back and forth with recruiters, employers, people you meet at networking events, whoever. It's a subtle way of saying, here I am on LinkedIn, and they will send you invitations to connect. So it's a subtle way of growing your network. And I would also have you think about putting your LinkedIn URL at the top of your resume. Your LinkedIn profile is not the same as your resume. It's different. There's some different features that you have on your LinkedIn that you won't have on your resume, showing connections, recommendations, skills, and different things. So putting it on there, it kind of shows I'm an active networker, and it makes it really easy for those folks to visit your profile. I would also highly recommend, I got some business cards done from Vistaprint when I was in career transition. Do all of you have business cards for those of you in career transition? If not, you know, Vistaprint's a good option. I think you can get like for 10, 20 bucks for a box of them. I would say get the smallest supply you can, because as soon as you print them, you'll go, oh, I wanted to change this, right? And or you could also go to like an Office Depot, FedEx, Kinko's, and you can order a small supply of those cards. All I would put on my card, and you know, you can put your photo or not, whatever. Your name and the job title that you're searching for, and then basic contact information. I just put an email address, my LinkedIn, and my cell phone. I don't list my home address, I don't list a whole description about myself, just short and sweet, and that way they can go to your LinkedIn. Business cards you can carry with you everywhere you go. You cannot carry your resume with you wherever you go. And I know you can say, but I have a big purse. But you can. There's going to be some places you're stuck talking to somebody, you can't bring your resume with you. It's not appropriate to bring it with you. But the business card you can bring with you. So get your LinkedIn URL on that. Even for those of you who are working, if you have the opportunity to get your LinkedIn on your business card with a little in symbol on your business card, I would highly recommend you do so. Okay? All right, so moving along, we're under privacy still. And along the left-hand side, there's a link for job seeking preferences. Have any of you ladies looked at this area yet? Yeah. Hopefully a couple of you have. Okay. Because sometimes it's one of these areas where we're like, oh, I didn't know I could adjust those things. So if you go under job seeking preferences, the very first thing, let recruiters know that you're open to opportunities. Okay, if you're in career transition, you're open to new positions, let recruiters know that. So when you click on change, it's going to take you to a menu of options, and you need to make sure, again, toggle this button up to yes from no. So when you toggle it to yes, it's going to let recruiters know that you're open to new opportunities. Now LinkedIn says we take steps not to show your current company, but we can't guarantee it. What they mean by that, I've had a conversation with them on LinkedIn, I'm like, what does that mean exactly? What that means is if, let's say I work for Bank of America and I wanted to toggle that to open to let recruiters know I'm open to new opportunities. LinkedIn will not allow any other Bank of America people to know that I have indicated that. So the recruiters that are using LinkedIn Recruiter cannot see that I'm open to that, okay? But let's say Bank of America outsources its recruiting to Kelly Services across the street. Kelly Services can look at anybody, including Bank of America employees. Okay, they can't look at Kelly Services employees, but they can look at those employees. So that's what that means. And when you toggle this to open, the world doesn't see it. It's only people who have LinkedIn Recruiter. So it's that paid version. Okay? Is that making sense? Mm-hmm. Any question? And I like to fill out everything in this section. You know, there's a little box where you can put a note to recruiters, and I like to think of that like a virtual post-it note at the top of my profile. So I might put something like, I am currently in career transition and I'm actively seeing my next full-time opportunity. I'm open to opportunities in Metro Detroit or Chicago, willing to relocate. So give them a little bit of explanation of what you're looking for and where you're looking for it. Okay? And there's some other areas in there to fill out as well. I'm going to go back for just a second.
Brenda?
Yes?
Is that link supposed to show up? Because mine doesn't have that.
When you click on job seeking
Yeah,
preferences
there's
on
no
here,
update preferences.
update career infos, so click on,
It is.
oh, it's already on yes on here. And
So how do you?
we're going to go into the job section a little bit, and I'll show you the rest of it.
It's in
Yeah.
job section.
It is in the job section, yeah. So I think I took 2 screen captures, one from jobs and one from the other section. So if you exit out of privacy and settings and you go into the top navigation where it says jobs, that's where you can update your career interests in there. Okay? All right, so I'm going to keep going in here. All right, so next section we're going to talk about modifying your profile, and I've got a version of my profile checklist that I'm going to show to you today, and I would encourage you to follow along with me here. I would like you to keep in mind that I am going to make a copy of these slides available. So if you want to get a copy of these, I'll give you guys a link where you can download them. But also feel free, if there's something that's up on screen that you want to remember, go ahead and use your camera and phone. I don't mind. Go ahead and take pictures of things as I'm presenting today. Sometimes it's easier to remember where something's at if we store it in our camera phone that we bring with us everywhere than a slide deck that you don't know if it's in an email or where I put that thing. So feel free to take pictures as I go along here today. So going through your profile, when I'm looking at profiles, when I connect with people and they say, hey Brenda, can you take a look at my profile, tell me what you think. This is the process I go through, okay? So starting at the top, we've got 2 areas for images. We've got your headshot photo, and then we've got a header image that's in the background here, okay? First, let's talk about your headshot photo. How many people got new headshot photos tonight? Awesome, very good. So what I look for in your headshot photo is pleasant, professional, smiling, current, meaning it's been taken in the past 5 years. It's not you from 20 years ago, okay? You all know that person I'm talking about, not somebody in the room here, but you know what I'm talking about. You see somebody's profile and you're like, well, that doesn't look anything like her today. That was clearly a few years ago. Really important here too, look at the circle, and what I like to see in your profile photo is that your face from the top of your forehead to the bottom of your chin, that should take about 50 to 60% of the circle. This is not a fashion show where we're showing everybody what we're wearing. You can see on here, you barely see a little glimpse of my, my attire that's in here. That's all we really should be seeing. So you know the ladies, sometimes we're seeing a whole lot of cleavage because it's so far back. I mean, obviously they want us to see that, right? But if you're doing your headshot photo right, that shouldn't be an issue because it's really just zooming in. What was that?
I shouldn't say that.
Okay. So, okay.
Inappropriate.
But pleasant, professional, smiling. Look at your profile photo right now. Is it poorly lit? Is it a selfie that's been taken in a car? Is it a crop photo where you can see somebody's arm off of the side of you or something with sunglasses on it? This profile photo should be the best professional image you have of yourself. And even if you didn't get the headshot photo taken tonight and maybe you don't meet those other criteria, the next time you're in professional attire, just have somebody take a handful of photos of you with your phone. And the great thing is you can crop that photo in LinkedIn and you can kind of tighten it up a little bit. Okay? So really important, I'm spending a lot of time on that because that's the number one thing I see when I'm looking at profiles as like a miss. You know, we don't have that perfected there. The other thing I like to look at is this background image. And I'm guessing probably about half of you have the teal blue with the dots and the lines. That's the default. You can and you should change that. What I like to look for something in the background is something that aligns with your industry or your personal brand. Okay? And I'm doing a lot of public speaking, so I'm showcasing myself at different speaking events. But maybe you work in project management, and maybe it's some technology images or something behind you. Maybe you work in engineering or automotive or healthcare, so you can use stock photography in the background there. I use pexels.com for free stock photography. That's a really great site. There's a bunch of them out there. There's another one called Unsplash. It's really good. All free photography. Bless you.
Thank you.
There's a bunch of them out there, but that's a great site where you can choose an image that represents your industry or your personal brand. Even better than the teal blue with the dots and the lines would be a picture of mountains or a sunset or just some different color effects or lighting or something like that. Okay? So I'd like to encourage you to think about changing that out. If it's a teal blue, it's a missed opportunity to get some branding in the background there. All right, moving down, this section in here is called headline, okay? And a lot of people by default use what LinkedIn serves up, which is job title at company, okay? And I recommend changing that, even if you are employed, changing that so that it is really a headline. And what I like to look for is that if you're in career transition, list your targeted job titles. Now, even if I wasn't working for myself, I know what my experience level is in. I would put VP of Marketing, Director of Marketing, Marketing Manager. I would use a couple of those job titles in my headline field. The reason for that is when recruiters are looking for profiles on LinkedIn, if you want to come up to the top of the search results, you've got to have those keywords in multiple places on your profile. And the headline is one of those fields it has to appear in. I would never like to use words like in career transition, unemployed, actively seeking opportunities. That it just screams desperate, and I don't think people are looking for in career transition. They're looking for mechanical engineer or VP of operations. They're looking for those keywords, okay? So think about changing yours out in there, putting a couple of different keywords that are in there, okay? All right, next area, contact info, and go ahead and click on your contact info right now. And I want you to just do a quick look at your information. Is everything correct in there, okay? If you have your LinkedIn URL gets simplified, you should see that LinkedIn URL appears in your contact information. You may have some websites that are listed. If your websites are for former employers you no longer work for, you should probably take those out, right? And what I would do is maybe put organizations that you're affiliated with, maybe organizations like Inforum, you could put a website in there. If there's professional groups, maybe if you're involved in the supply chain management, you put the Supply Chain Management Association's website in there. That looks really good, right? If you're in career transition. So think about swapping some websites out. I don't personally like to show my birthday on my LinkedIn profile, and I don't like to wish people a happy birthday on LinkedIn. This is a professional networking site. that's my preference. Now I do have some of my clients, they'll say, well, I work in financial services or I work in insurance, and it gives me an additional touch point. I had somebody the other day say, well, I got 80 people wishing me a happy birthday. And I'm like, well, more power to you. I kind of don't want my whole network wishing me a happy birthday. That's my own thing. So if you don't want your birthday to show in that field, what you would do is there's a whole list from January through December. At the very top it says month. Just choose the word month. And on the day, at the very top it says the word day. Just choose day and it'll clear it out. Okay? All right. Okay, so that's your contact information. Did anybody see anything in there that we need to clean out? Couple things we want to do. Any questions?
What do you think about putting your cell phone in that contact information?
So that if you put your cell phone in your contact information, it's viewable only by your first level connections. So keep that in mind. So if you connect with somebody, they have your cell phone, okay? Having said that, how accessible do you want to be to people? I'm a consultant, I want to be pretty accessible. I want my clients and individuals who are interested in working with me to get a hold of me. Every now and again I get spam calls and we get robot calls and all those things too. So yeah, how accessible do you want to be is really what you want to think about there. Okay? Judgment call there. Yes?
I might be jumping ahead, but do you teach the nearby function on the phone?
I sometimes do, but if we have some time at the end, we'll do that. But after we talk about personalizing invitations, the reason being when we use the nearby, it just sends off the invitations to everybody. You can't personalize.
Yeah.
And I want to show you the right way of doing things before. It's kind of like teaching a kid math and then giving them the calculator, right? So I want to make sure you know the what you're missing. But do remind me if we have some time at the end. If I haven't covered that, we'll look through that. All right. Underneath that, the next thing I'm going to look for is your about statement. A little while back they called it summary. Now they're calling it your about statement. What I'd like to look for in here, this is not the same thing as your resume. Your resume is written in the third person. Results-oriented professional with 20 years of blah, 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 blah. It's that type of resume speak. Your LinkedIn profile should really be in your voice. It should be in the first person. I am a passionate marketer who is focused on inspiration and leading a team that gets work done. So it's a little bit more conversational. If I walked you up at a networking event, what's your name? Kathy, if I walked up to Kathy at a networking event, I wouldn't say, seasoned marketing professional with 20 years of experience in project. I wouldn't say that. I would say, hey Kathy, I'm a passionate marketer. I've been working in higher ed for multiple years. Now I started my own business. I would use a little bit more conversational language in there. So I want you to think about that in your about section. Your about section is you talking to your potential LinkedIn connections. So use conversational speak in there. And really important here, if you look at, if anybody has both their desktop, rather their laptop and their phone with you, I want you to look at it, your about statement in both views. You're going to notice you only see 3 lines in both views, but there's fewer characters that you see on your mobile phone than you do see on the desktop, okay? And keep in mind that about 50% of people looking at our profiles are looking at on the mobile view nowadays, okay? So when we're writing our about statement, you want to get to the point pretty quickly. You don't want to be rambling on. I was born in a small town and grew up on a ranch and blah, blah, blah. Because guess what? Then you get to ... and we don't know who you are. We haven't gotten to that story yet. So I like to lead with something that's compelling and a little bit more of an example of who you are, what you bring to the table, why you're different than every other person who's qualified for the work that you're looking for. Was there a hand over there? No? Okay. All right, keep going. So focus on the first 2 lines. Those are the most important things in your about statement, the very first 2 lines. And here's a technique. If you're struggling with, well, gosh, Brenda, I don't know how to describe myself, start looking up other people on LinkedIn who share your targeted job title and just start looking at a bunch of their profiles and look at their about statements. You're going to get some inspiration. You're going to see some ones that really stink, and you're going to see some really awesome ones. And what is it about the ones that are awesome? They're compelling, they draw you in, they're a little bit more descriptive, they give you some personality and some backstory usually. Okay? So that's some homework. Usually the about statements are not something we get to do in these workshops, but there's some homework that we need to work on there. Okay? All right, so moving along, I'm going to have you now scroll down to your experience section as you're looking at your profile. And this is a section I often see people missing out on an opportunity to use this to fill out some information on there. So even if you're working or not, I still like to see some of this filled out for every one of your employers. And I like to start with a description of the company. Let's assume that the person looking at your profile is not familiar with your organization. Give a 1 to 2 sentence description. You know, XYZ company is headquartered in Farmington Hills with 20,000 employees across the US. Let's give them some context, specializing in supply chain management and distribution, whatever that is. So let's give them some context. What is this company? Okay? If you want, you can also list some products and services if you're still working for that employer, you know, help to sell them a little bit. If not, then you can go right into your role. As VP of Business Development, I was responsible for, and then maybe you list some of your key accomplishments using some of those keywords and phrases from your resume, okay? After that, I like to add in a list of specialties, and this is just simply a list of keywords that are related to my key strengths that I picked up in each of those positions. And what I do is I just put these specialties as a keyword list, running paragraph separated by comma. I don't write these I don't put this in here, I should say, for you as a human being to read. I don't mind if you read them, but I put this in for SEO, for search engine optimization. If I want to be found for social media, content marketing, public speaking, social media strategy, marketing consulting, I've got to use those words in multiple places, in multiple areas of my profile. So if I'm looking for a VP of marketing position, I'm going to use that in my headline. I'm going to describe myself as a VP of marketing someplace in my about statement. I'm also going to have it in my description sections in my experience. Okay? So we're writing our profile for our ideal target audience. We're writing it for human beings. We want to make it interesting, but we also want to write it for the computer. We want to optimize our profile so that we're coming up in more searches on LinkedIn. Okay? That making sense? Okay, so I want to kind of shift the way you're thinking about this LinkedIn a little bit. It's not just for the person looking at it, but how are we going to write our profile so that we're coming up in more searches? Okay?
Yeah,
All right, any questions there?
Yeah,
Yes.
he says on experience, are you going in and, you know, there's only are you going into the description area?
Yes, into
and
the
so that's
description
where
area.
you're filling it in.
Yes.
in the description.
Yep, very good question. Yep. So in the description area, that's where you would add in a 1 to 2 sentence, and at minimum, if you're no longer working there, 1 to 2 sentence description of the company. As a job title, I was responsible for, and then you list some of the key accomplishments that you did in that role. And then put your specialties listed there. Okay?
It shouldn't be a repeat of like a resume then.
Not necessarily. You could. I mean, you certainly could copy and paste it in there. It's easy to do that. Some people don't start their resume with the description of the company, so you might need to add that in on the top of it. Okay?
What do you recommend when all of your experience or most of your professional experience is with the same company and you've had multiple roles?
So LinkedIn actually does give you a way now, it will stack those as multiple roles in on your LinkedIn profile.
But as far as experience, just that the topmost one and then
Yeah,
go down?
I mean, it doesn't hurt, it actually helps you if you're repeating the same keywords and phrases, because it's going to help you to come up with more searches related to those keywords and phrases too. So it might feel like I'm being repetitive, I'm being redundant on here, but it actually works in your favor when you're using the same keywords and phrases over and over. Especially if you want to stay in that field in similar jobs too.
Okay. Quick question, Brenda. What would you suggest in terms of your experience if you aspire to advance, but perhaps you haven't had that particular role in the past? Say, for example, you want to be a director,
Right.
but you've always been in a managerial role or what have you. And obviously you want that keyword somewhere within floating through your
Yeah.
experience.
And you can use variations of it. Maybe it wasn't a job title that you had director, but maybe you directed people. Right?
Okay.
Maybe there's organizations that you gained leadership skills and you didn't serve as a membership director, but assisted with direction of strategies and projects. So think about different words and phrases that you could use with that.
Okay.
And then, you know, maybe you don't have any leadership skills and you're looking at moving into management or leadership. I would say get active in an organization like Inforum, where you can volunteer to help lead an affinity group or help find speakers or serve on a committee or be an ambassador, where you can gain some of that leadership skills. And then I would even, if I was in career transition, I would put any of my pro bono experience, I would put in my experience section. And I've even done that. I serve on some nonprofit boards. I put those in my experience section on LinkedIn. Even though I'm not getting paid, it's pro bono experience that I am gaining and I am giving. Right? So it's a way of kind of directing that. Does that help?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right, so moving on, the last thing I want to point out to you is in your experience section, you can upload media. And I want to go back to the previous slide for a second here too. In your about section, you can also see that you upload media. You have the ability, I should say, to upload media into that. Does anybody have media on their profile? A couple hands in here? Good. So it's a couple of people I've seen in some other sections too. What I love about putting media in here is, for the most part, your LinkedIn profile is all black and white text. It's very dry, uninteresting. When we can upload media in here, it adds some visual interest. Question?
What types of media, like, you mean like business cards?
Yeah.
You mean like, pictures of you interacting?
Great question. So what types of media would you upload into your profile? Here's what I would suggest. If it's not working, we're just gonna keep going, it's fine. Here's what I would suggest on there. I would upload, if you have projects, examples of work that you've done. Maybe it's a picture of you and your team at a charity event, kind of showcases teamwork and working together and volunteering and giving back. It could be if you have any work samples that you've done, you could upload pictures of those work samples into your profile. What I would not do, I would not upload your resume in there. And if anybody has the resume on your LinkedIn profile, I would highly recommend you remove it from your profile. The reason being, I always like to know who has a copy of my resume, because there's some jobs I don't want to apply to, right? And when you put your resume on your LinkedIn, it screams desperation, for one, and it makes it too easy to get a hold of information. Also consider the fact that if you have your address on your resume and you're uploading that to your LinkedIn, anybody who's connected to you can see your resume and your home address. Okay? So if it's on there, take it off. You can always keep it in your job section where you can upload it in there, but I would not put your resume in there. Okay? In addition to uploading documents, you can upload PowerPoints, you can upload video files in there. You can also point to website links. So maybe if you have a link of yourself giving a presentation or an article that appeared in a publication, you can put that in there as well. If you have any published work, you can put that in there. Does that help out a little bit? If you go into that media section, it's going to say, here's the types of documents that you can upload. What I would encourage you to do is just start paying attention to what do other people put in here. And if you don't have anything and you're in career transition, what if you were to create a document that says FAQs about project management? Why don't you create something to demonstrate your expertise? 10 things you don't know about engineering that can save you money. Things like that. So let's think about demonstrating our expertise and creating some media we put in there. Yes?
So there is a link in about to upload your resume. Are you recommending to remove?
I do not like to put it in there. Yeah, personally. Are there any career coaches here in the room? Anybody career coaching? Career coaches, what would your advice be on that?
I agree with you.
To not upload your resume?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you say? Do not upload your resume. Okay. So there are some areas of LinkedIn, like LinkedIn says add your birthday. I'm like, why? That's not professional. I'm not going to put that on my profile. And upload your resume is another one of those areas. Why would you put it on?
Sometimes it's easier if they don't have a completed LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
And if you're a recruiter and you want to get more information about who they are and the experience,
Sure.
the resume being up there does help.
Yeah, could potentially, yep. But then you also give access to everybody else to look at it too. That's a trade-off. Yes,
Another reason that you wouldn't want to do that is because when you're applying for different jobs, they may be similar, but they're different companies.
Right.
You're going to want to tweak your resume to have the keywords that go with that company. You see what I mean?
Right, you're versionizing your resume for the
Yeah, so you
position
don't-
as opposed to just putting one blanket resume out there and
Yeah.
keeping your fingers crossed. That's a
Yeah.
good point. It's preference. I mean, some of you may say, hey, you know what, Brenda, I put my resume on there. I want to make it easily accessible. I would say more power to you. It's really a judgment call. I personally don't like to see it on there. I think it makes it too accessible, and you want to pay, I don't want to say hard to get, but you don't want to be that accessible in a job search. You want to be making sure that you're making that resume only available to the people that you want to have access to it. That's my own personal.
So when you add the roles, you only want to add the title of the...
In the experience section,
Right.
what I would do is, again, I would start with a 1 to 2 sentence description of the company, and then describe your job title. As the job title I was responsible for, and then you might list out some responsibilities as well as some key achievements of the position. So that would be similar to what you have in your resume.
Right, okay, just to cover
So
up
there's
a
some
little bit.
similarities.
Yeah.
Definitely there's some similarities to what you put in your resume and in a couple sections of your LinkedIn profile. And I would say, don't reinvent the wheel. If you have it in your resume, copy and paste it over there, right? Okay. All right. All right, keep going here. In your experience section too, make sure that next to your current employer and any of your previous employers, make sure that you don't have that gray building avatar. What I like to say is gray is not okay. When I see a gray building avatar next to it, It either means, usually you haven't linked it properly to the company. So if you say you work for Ford Motor Company, but I see a gray building avatar, it makes me go, well, did she really? Did she really work there or not? And it's probably just that you haven't linked it properly. Now, sometimes we work for companies that are no longer in business and they don't have a LinkedIn company page. Well, then, okay, it's going to be a gray building avatar. But if we know they have a LinkedIn company page, I would link it to their page because it provides a psychological validation, yes, you actually worked there. Even though LinkedIn doesn't go actually and verify it, it's for the user's perspective. Is there a hand?
Yeah, my current position is in transition, actively pursuing new opportunities because I'm not with the company. So I do have the gray building avatar. Is there an alternative in that case?
There's not, and I personally, I'm going to ask Kathy for your thoughts on this. I would not put in transition as your current experience. I would just leave your end date as your last employer and not put anything above that. I have seen some people put consulting, and they create a faux company, and it might just say Meller Consulting, and then with a description that says, while I'm in career transition and waiting for that next opportunity, I'm keeping active in the business community by providing pro bono advice and doing networking in the marketing community. So that sounds better to me than in transition, which sounds like, and I know you're not, it sounds like you're sitting on your couch waiting for the phone call to come in, right? What are your thoughts on that, Kathy?
Yeah, I would agree. It sounds more powerful to be talking about what you're looking for moving forward versus acknowledging that you're in that transition. I mean, they'll know by the way that you write whatever you write up there, but I think it is always better to, the way you just said it, you added it back in and then had more with it.
Yeah.
But I think it sounded really good or much better when, how did you first say it?
I would say while I'm in career transition, I'm staying active in the marketing community by providing pro bono advice to my network as well as networking at different events.
Yeah, so that that is a great statement, and that way, and you can have transition in there. Yeah. But a lot of the ones I look at are people just saying that what they're seeking, what the types of opportunities that they're seeking. Or you know how like in your resume nowadays you should have what they call a branding statement up at the top? Yeah. You can use some of those words because those should have some forward movement, like this is what
I'm looking for next. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Whereas the about statement might be a summary of your entire career and some different areas. Yeah.
Andrea, do you have any comments? She's another curve too.
Also, it's important to know how long you are in transition. Let's say that you are just here, like 1 month or something, like it's not such a big deal like that. But if there is a long time in between, especially for those who stay home, like for taking care of the kids, there is a big gap. Even your resume, you can add hiatus for deciding, like, moving to a new country or taking care of my family or any other situations. The employer, the recruiter, wants you to be honest and transparent about your situation. So it's really important to be clear what is the situation instead of inventing so much names and stuff.
I mean, we could definitely spend a lot more time talking about this because I think especially when you're in career transition, it's a little bit challenging. What do you do? How do you not show that gap on there? But hopefully this has given you a couple of ideas to think about. I'll take one more question from the back, and then if it's okay, we're going to keep going. Okay? Kind of go ahead.
How do we leave your company to get rid of that little gray?
So if your company has a company page on LinkedIn, go into your experience section, and you should see a little pencil icon right next to that at the top there. When you click on the pencil icon and go to the field that shows the employer name, and just mouse to the end of the field, and you might just delete one letter off of the end. And if it had Ford Motor Company, I would just take the Y off the end, and then it's going to populate Ford Motor Company in the list underneath it, and I could grab the Ford logo. Okay, so it's linking to a company page that already exists on LinkedIn. Okay. All right. So if it's okay, I'm going to keep us going. Maybe hold up on questions.
Out of business.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're going to keep us going here. All right. So skills section. Scroll underneath your experience, and I want you to look at your skills right now. LinkedIn gives us the ability to add up to 50 skills on our profile. Ladies, we tend to not use all of those 50 skills because we think it makes us look like we're bragging about ourselves. We need to get over that and use those skills to our advantage because it helps you to come up in more searches. More important than using all 50 though, I want you to look at the top 3 skills, the ones that are showing at the top of your skills section. Are those the top 3 skills you want to be known for? Okay. If not, you can and you should click on that pencil icon and go into that skills list. LinkedIn is going to have these 3 pinned with the little pin icon next to them, and you can actually unpin them. And maybe I want to put marketing strategy instead of social selling in the top of that list. So what are the 3 things you want to be known for? Focus on the top 3, and what I like to say there is people are lazy. Now, I don't really think people are lazy, but most people are not going to click on show more. Most people are going to see the top 3, and they're going to make a judgment call based on you, and they're going to keep on scrolling. Okay? So let's put the top 3 to be the ones that we really want to be known for. Okay? Making sense? If you're struggling with coming up with 50 skills to put on your profile, do what I do. Type in your job title on LinkedIn and look at a bunch of other people's profiles. See what skills they have. You will get 10, 20, 30 ideas for skills you can add to your profile. Okay?
May I say something quickly? And it's important also to see how many people linked in your skills. So if you don't have a lot of people on your LinkedIn, ask for people that you know to click. Like,
to give you like the endorsements
yes,
that you're talking about.
yes.
And when you move something to the top, you won't have any over time because they're there. These are the top 3 that people are going to start to endorse you for most often. What I like to do is always pay it forward. If I'm visiting somebody's profile, if I know that Carol is an expert in franchising, I'm going to give her a skill endorsement for that because I know that that's something that she does for her job. Okay? I'll give you that one final.
Okay, you know, I've got all my first.
I know, you'll be like checking on that. All right, scrolling underneath skills, I want to see, do you have any recommendations on your profile? You can both give recommendations and people can give you, meaning you receive recommendations on your profile. What I like to look for is at least 1 in the current year in both sides. It should say it's 2019, I don't know why that got broken off there. But it's 2019, so if the last time you have given a skill is 2011, or the last time you've received a skill, or rather received an endorsement is 2008, you need to start requesting and giving those out, okay? What I like to do is be strategic, think about people who have large networks, who have a lot of connections, whose recommendation holds some weight. Those are the people you should be asking for recommendations from, and those are the people you should be giving recommendations to. Perfectly okay to exchange recommendations to. You might say, hey, Anastasia, I'm going to give you a recommendation. Could you give me one as well? And we'll exchange them on LinkedIn. Perfectly okay to do. I think these help to demonstrate your expertise through the whole concept of social proof. People believe what others say about you more than they believe what we say about ourselves. So get people that can speak about your expertise in your industry. Okay? Former coworkers, managers, vendors, things like that as well. Okay. I'm going to keep going if it's okay. We'll hold off questions. Is that okay? Okay. Sorry to keep us going here. I want to think about now moving into this conversation about posting on LinkedIn. And I like to think about LinkedIn as a giant checking account, if you will. My son, my 14-year-old, I recently got him a bank account, and he got one of those, cards that they give you when you put money into savings, and he's like, cool, now I can go shopping. And I'm like, well, that's not how it works. You have to put money in before you can take it out. It doesn't just give you carte blanche to go and use it. LinkedIn is the same way. If you want to get something out of LinkedIn, you've got to make deposits first. And you do those deposits by paying it forward by helping others, by giving them recommendations, by giving people endorsements on their skills, by liking their posts, by commenting on their posts. And what I like to do when I leave comments is leave 5 or more words. There's a magic to that number. By saying great post or great article, it doesn't really do anything to keep that post in the homepage longer. If I say, this is a great post, Julie, thanks for sharing, that helps to keep it up in the homepage feed a little bit longer. So I want you to remember that 5 or more words is kind of a critical part of that. So let's think about posting on LinkedIn. How often are you ladies posting? Has anybody posted today on LinkedIn? Besides me, a couple other people, a handful of people in the room. So I would say at minimum, you should try to post at least once a week on LinkedIn. Even better would be daily. If you have not posted today, what I want to encourage you to do, if you have your phone with you right now and you've got the LinkedIn app on it, I want you to take a picture of me at some point during the presentation, and I want you to share that photo on LinkedIn. and you might put something like attending an outstanding LinkedIn presentation led by, or phenomenal, choose your own word, led by @Brenda Meller, and you'll tag me in the post. Thank you to @Carol Ward for booking an amazing speaker, @Inforum, Women on the Move,
Diane Freeman.
and Diane Freeman. Tag both of them. Thanks for booking this amazing speaker. Through @Inforum, you're going to give some love to Inforum as well, to help leverage LinkedIn during my career transition. Now I'm going to move to the other side of the room to give these ladies an action shot over here.
Yes.
Because the actions, I try not to make me with a weird look on my face if you could, like try with the gesturing. I always get like the weird kind of cockeyed open and things like that. So try to put those in the post and think about from this point forward, anytime you're at an event and there's somebody speaking in the front of the room, get comfortable with your camera. What I like to do actually, ladies, is turn your phone sideways so you get a horizontal photo. Horizontal photos work better on LinkedIn. And what I like to actually do is I like to get maybe 5 or 10 different photos, and then I choose the one where the person doesn't look like they're making a weird expression. Right? And that's the one, if you get them smiling, that's even better, right? That's why I'm like, oh, I'm kind of up here right now. So use that as an example of a post. Anytime you're at an event, person speaking in front of the room, take a picture of them and say, today I saw @Terry Bean. Does anybody know Terry Bean? Mm-hmm. Seen him present? Say I saw @Terry Bean at this presentation, and Terry was talking about networking, and you tagged Terry in it, and here's 1 or 2 key takeaways I learned from the event. Start getting in the habit of doing that. Now that's not saying, look at me, I'm a job seeker, right? It's saying, look at Terry, look at Brenda, look at Carol. It's saying, look at these other people, but people are going to look at your profile when they see those posts because they're like, wow, she's keeping active, and she's at these events, that kind of thing. Bonus would be, when you share this photo out, you might say, here are 1 or 2 key takeaways I learned from the presentation today. If you're helping to kind of pay it forward, educate your network, help them out, okay? So start doing that. Post something today. Feel free, do it right now if you want to keep looking and looking down and do that post right now. Post once a week from this moment forward. If you're struggling with, Brenda, I don't know what to post on LinkedIn, take a picture of this so you have this in your phone. And when you're struggling with, what content do I put on LinkedIn? What do I post on LinkedIn? Here are a couple ideas. Anytime you go to a conference, a workshop, a networking event, take a picture of the presenter. Take a picture of a selfie of yourself and a couple people that are there and say, today I was at the Troy Chamber event and learned about XYZ, whatever. When you're reading news items, whether it's Entrepreneur Magazine or Crane's Detroit Business or whatever magazines you're reading, click to share and you can share that and that counts as a post on LinkedIn. Business tips based on your expertise. Gosh, like 2 to 3 times a week, I share a LinkedIn tip or a marketing tip or advice that I've kind of picked up along my career. Job postings from your network. If somebody has a job posting in their first level, in their homepage feed, you can click to share that, and that counts as a post on LinkedIn. Inspirational quotes. This is my like when I'm struggling with, I can't think of anything to post at all. I'll go into Google and I'll type in inspirational quotes about momentum or whatever it is I'm struggling with that day. And I'll search for Google Images and I'll find somebody who's posted another image that talks about that very phrase, and I will share that out as a post on LinkedIn. And it might be a Stephen Covey quote or a Tina Fey quote or whatever. It might be something, but use that as an example of something you can share. Okay? So once a week minimum, once per business day is even better. Okay? All right, so now I would like to share with you a technique about posting on LinkedIn. And when I share this technique with you, I guarantee you'll never think about posting the same way ever again. Okay? So NEVA is my acronym for a different way of thinking about posting on LinkedIn. And each letter stands for something. N stands for news or information. So think about, why does your audience care about this? Why would somebody care about reading about this? What is the news or information that you're sharing? The E is you're engaging by tagging people and or organizations and possibly using a hashtag or 2 or 3. The V is a visual. The visual could be a photo. It can be a graph or an infographic, an illustration, or it could be a video. So that's a visual. And the A is the call to action. What do you want them to do after reading your post? So just to show an example, I lead up the Inforum Troy Affinity Group, and a couple weeks back, we had a session called Your Little Black Dress. Was anybody there for that session? So this was actually a covert title. So So we talked about your little black dress and how it takes you from day to night, and how your outward appearance can help to drive your inward emotions and blah blah blah. What it was really about, there's this Twitter meme that's going around, and it was something like things every woman should own. 1, little black dress. 2, strappy sandals. 3, okay, now that the men have stopped reading, we revolt at midnight. And I was like, that's so clever, I love it. Wouldn't it be cool if we could have an Inforum meetup based on this topic of career transition, but not tell people that's what the meeting is about? Because as soon as you register on the Inforum site, everybody can see what you're registering for, right? So I said, well, let's do this talk about your little black dress. So Stella and Antoinette were co-presenters at that event, and I took pictures of both of them. So the news was, as seen at today's Inforum event, where we talked about co-leaders facilitating today's discussion about professional women. So that's the news. The E is I tagged Stella and Antoinette. So I tagged both of them. I tagged Inforum as well. And then the V is the visual. So I took a couple pictures on my phone of both of them. And the A, the call to action, I said we'll be repeating this presentation at Inforum Novi in August. Message me if you'd like to register. It's tomorrow morning at Inforum Novi at Walsh College if you'd like to join us for that. 8 to 9 a.m. Free, you can just show up, you don't even have to register. Okay? So that's an example of a NEVA post in action. And I try to do this at least once a week. I always do a Friday shout. That's always a NEVA type of a post. But I try to do this a couple other times a week too. Okay? So give that a try, and I guarantee you'll get some really nice engagement here. Where are we at time-wise? We're at about 7:10-ish, 7:12-ish? Okay. So finding a job using LinkedIn, and I'm going to just kind of first go until 7:30 if I can get kind of out. Because we got
We'll have a couple of announcements after that.
Okay, we'll keep it there. So finding a job using LinkedIn, just a couple of quick reminders. I'm not going to go through all these slides in the next section. I want to get to some of the detail here. But if you're looking to connect on LinkedIn to find a job, ask before sending a resume. Just a quick little kind of reminder there. If you connect with somebody, don't right away send off your resume to them. Ask for that permission first, or even if it's not to apply for a job at their company. I don't know about all of you, but when a resume is pushed on me, I feel kind of uncomfortable. I'm like, I don't know what to do with it at this point. So ask permission. You might connect with somebody and say, it looks like you've got a lot of connections in the HR industry. Let me know if you'd be open to looking at my resume, giving me some pointers sometime. Get permission, kind of get that opt-in before you send it over. Okay? People seek people, so you got to be active on LinkedIn. Those opportunities aren't just going to fall in your lap. You have to connect with people on LinkedIn. What I like to do is I actually like to connect with my competition. So connect with people that are in your targeted job title that are working, because they may hear of those opportunities. And they may keep you in mind if they hear of an opportunity that's along that same job title line. Okay, a little tip there. So in the Jobs tab on LinkedIn, this is where, under that briefcase icon, when you click on Jobs, this is where you would click on Career Interests. That's where the section we were talking about a little bit earlier. And that's where you can fill in, let recruiters know you're open to opportunities, put a note to recruiters. You can fill all that section in there. Hopefully you've checked that out already. If not, definitely spend a little bit of time under that Jobs and going into that Career Interests section. Do keep in mind here that this is kind of like your monster job board type of a search, and start filling in information. And I think you can even create some search alerts for yourself. So that's kind of the obvious. And I think probably a lot of you have done this already, right? You've been spending a little bit of time in here. I'm going to talk about a couple hidden areas on LinkedIn where you can find jobs. Hidden area number 1, not really so hidden, but you may not be thinking about it this way. Groups. So think about finding groups on LinkedIn that are related to your industry keywords. Or could just be groups that have Michigan, Metro Detroit, things like that in there. Career Ministries is a group on LinkedIn. I don't know how many members this group has. I don't think it shows me on here, but Mark Corey, he'll often post jobs in the groups here on LinkedIn. And this isn't going into the jobs section of LinkedIn. This is just a posting in a group on LinkedIn. This is another one, Motor City Connect. I know this one's got like 10,000 members in it. And here was a guy who posted just last night about some job openings that were in there as well. So check out the groups on LinkedIn, look for postings, you might find some opportunities there. Another thing is, in your homepage feed sometimes, you might see companies posting about positions, and these are not job postings that are in their jobs on LinkedIn. This is just a company page post. Sometimes people will also do the same thing. So pay attention to the homepage feed. Sometimes you'll see those positions that are coming in there. So I want to say kind of hidden because it's not in the job section. It's like hidden in plain sight. It's like in your homepage feed sometimes. This one is kind of interesting. I like to kind of refer to this as ambulance chasing. I don't know if you remember me talking about this last year. So ambulance chasing. So when somebody announces a new position, guess what? There's a vacancy they've left behind them. So think about, looking at these notifications, but you can also go into the search on LinkedIn and you can type in words like join the team or announce new job or things like that. And you can start to see people that are talking about their new positions on LinkedIn. And I might put join the team in quotation marks to keep it like a Boolean search, and then plus marketing director. Because I know if they join the team as marketing director at this company, they've left a marketing vacancy behind them. Okay? And this example on this profile, so Dawn announced that she started a new position. I go on Dawn's profile, yep, that's the position. And look at this, her position ended here August of 2019, so there's probably a vacancy here. So is anybody in the room looking for advancement, fundraising, director level positions? You might want to look at Catholic Charities as an example. So that's kind of that ambulance chasing coming from the lawyers chase after the ambulances because they know there's going to be a lawsuit that they're going to want to kind of chase after that, right? So this is the LinkedIn version of that ambulance chasing. I think I'm going to skip this on here. I'll let you guys read this on here. I'm just going to end with this last point. Don't go direct, go indirect. What I mean by that is if I'm applying for a position at a company, your inclination would probably be to contact the HR manager or the hiring manager for the direct department. What I would do instead is find other people that work at that company and work kind of from the outward in. If I'm looking for a sales position, maybe I contact people that work in operations and accounting and finance and other departments, try to get them to accept my invitation, and then maybe say, hey, I see that you might have an opening there. Do you know anything about the process? Their guard's down because they're not the gatekeeper on that position. They might help you out a little bit. Okay, so go indirect there. All right, they do have some different features on LinkedIn. One of them, if you're kind of lukewarm on the opportunity, I like to use the easy apply, just kind of lazily apply on the position. It doesn't hurt to try that. Keep active even when you're job seeking. So if you're in career transition now, don't stop. Don't stop using LinkedIn. Rather, when you found the next position, keep going on LinkedIn. So it'll make that process a little bit easier the next time around. All right, so let's talk now about sending invitations on LinkedIn. How many people, when you send out an invitation, you're putting a note in every single invitation? Awesome. How about on your phone? Do you do it on your phone too? Not many hands are like, no, you can't do it on the phone. You can do it on your phone. So from this moment forward, I want everyone in the room to vow that from this moment forward, when you send out an invitation, you always include a note in your invitation. Okay? I guarantee you will get more of your invitations accepted. You will get more dialogue started. This is going to be a more helpful tool for you as a career seeker. Okay? So what you want to do is when you are in the desktop version of LinkedIn, you know how LinkedIn offers up people? And it'll say the connect button will be next to their name. Don't ever click on the connect button in that list that they offer up. Instead, click on their name to go to their profile. You know you're in the right place when you can see the header graphic that appears behind them. Okay? Jill used to work for Cinnabon. I think she's with the fruit company, the fruit basket thing right now. But I love her profile. She's got Cinnabons on. I love Cinnabons. So when we're on the profile, you click on the blue connect button. And when you click on that, it gives you an option to add a note or send now. Always, 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 always send a note. Okay? And the note, what I like to do is I follow the formula. Hi, first name. Have we met or not? Mention one or two things from their profile. And then ask for the invitation. I'm making it all about them. So in this case, it might be, hi Jill, we haven't met, but I see that we're both experienced in marketing leadership, and we share several common connections on LinkedIn, if that's the case. Let's connect on LinkedIn, Brenda Meller. Now I don't tell Jill I see a director of marketing position open at her company and I want to apply with the company. I don't say, hey Jill, can I send you my resume because I need to get a job tomorrow. I don't say, I don't try to sell to Jill. I don't do any of that. I'm making this invitation all about Jill because my goal is to get Jill to accept my invitation. That's my only goal. Once she accepts my invitation, then I can follow up with another response, and that might be, hi Jill, thanks for accepting my invitation. I see that you work at Cinnabon. There may be some openings there in the marketing department. Would you be open to looking at my resume sometime, or helping to give me some pointers on the application process? Now you've got an in with her because she's accepted your invitation. Okay, so wait until that second step to message them. Okay? Let's talk about the invitation process on mobile. It's a little bit different. So if you're on mobile, go on your phone right now, and I want you to actually practice this technique because it's a little bit different on your phone. So if you are not yet connected with me, you can practice with me. If you're already connected with me, find a neighbor in the room, somebody you're not connected with, and go on their profile. Do not click on connect. Do not click on follow if you're seeing my profile. Hold on for just a second. What I want you to do instead is I want you to click on, it'll say either the more button or the 3 dots. Okay? So when you find the more button or the 3 dots, click on that. And then when you click on that more button or the 3 dots, it's going to give you a menu of options. One of those options is to personalize invites. So this is how you personalize it on the mobile. Okay? Again, you're going to click on either the more button or the 3 dots from mobile, and then you click on that option, to personalize invite. Okay? Same formula there. Hi, first name. Have we met or not? 1 or 2 items referencing from their profile. If you have met them, remind them where it was that you met. Let's connect on LinkedIn. So if you're sending it to me, it might be, hi Brenda, you presented tonight at Inforum in Troy. Great job. Let's connect on LinkedIn. Sign off on your name. Okay? So start getting in the habit of personalizing every single time. Okay? So that said, going to practice this technique right now?
Yeah, I
Find
have
your
a
best?
question.
Yes.
Before you go there, I cannot see anymore my,
The find nearby?
yes.
It's not working. It may be because of the Wi-Fi in here.
I want to ask you this for a long time. Something in the side.
It may not work because I think the Wi-Fi is a little spotty here in the room. I think we may pass on this one tonight. My phone died. All right, ladies, I'm going to bring us back. I think we're all kind of talking to our neighbors, probably trying to get these invitations out. But I think we've got about 5 minutes or so to go, and I want to keep us moving forward, if that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to keep talking loud. I'm going to use my mom voice and just keep talking until we're ready to go here. All right, so some final thoughts here, ladies. I want to kind of wrap us up, and then we'll open it up to some additional questions. And I think that Carol has a couple of things that she'd like to finish off on here. So some final thoughts for you, ladies. I would encourage you from this moment forward to think about spending 15 minutes a day, every single day on LinkedIn. On the slide here on the screen, I give you some things that you could do as you're spending that time on LinkedIn. If you want to get really good at LinkedIn, if you want LinkedIn to work for you in your job search, you have to be active on LinkedIn. And you can do so. I wouldn't say spend 18 hours a day on LinkedIn, but spend 15 minutes every single day on LinkedIn. And these are just a couple of techniques you can do: scrolling through your homepage, participating in group discussions, sending you invitations, screening invitations from people you don't know, looking at people with similar job titles. There's a variety of different ways that you can spend that 15 minutes every day on LinkedIn. Okay? Help on LinkedIn. Go to LinkedIn Help if you ever have any questions. I think they do a great job of walking you through step by step. You can also message me and say, hey, where do I do this? How do I find this? And I'll help you out there too. All right, some homework, and this is what I'll end with here today. Connect with me on LinkedIn and personalize your invitation. Review jobs on and off LinkedIn. I'm not going to read through everything here on the list. What I will say is, look at this incentive. If you complete your homework here on LinkedIn, message me on LinkedIn. I'll give you a once-over on your profile, and I'll give you a couple of additional free tips on using LinkedIn. Okay? With that, too, if you'd like a copy of the slides, feel free to message me on LinkedIn. What I'd like to do is I'd like to pass this out real quick. We're going to do a little pop quiz, and I'm going to draw for a pie winner. Okay? It'll be fun. All right.